Everyone got their moment to shine.
Absolutely.
In that game. For
you know who also got a moment to shine? VNcast, because they got it right this time around, and that is just beautiful to see.
I like, you know, that we all have our own views, and sometimes they clash. All I'd wish for is at some point during the space, just get VNcast, get them on the call.
Oh, that's what we need,
right? Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, no, I think that is something
we're gonna
we
make
have to work out for the future. Yeah,
we're gonna make this happen.
That's a round 2 thing. Perhaps they could even just be a part of the space, you know, like Cubby used to be. Just put them on the TV.
Oh my God, love that.
Just VN TV. That's what we can do. All right, we've got Ash banned away as well as the Renekton and the Vi, and there is Rumble, Nidalee, and Sejuani. So Tristana, Corki, both of them still up and available. Let's see what the priority is going to be here for T1 as Ezreal is going to be locked away first.
And it makes me wonder if they want to play Ezreal mid. I think Guma on the Ezreal, unfortunately, just didn't look that good. Also comes off the back of some of the performances we've seen from Viper, who I think right now very clearly at first place. But I think even Pace has had some standout games on it.
Aiming's also looked pretty good.
Aiming's looked good on it. We've had Deft as well. Henna has been a very early fan of this.
Yeah.
So him picking up doesn't come as too much of a surprise. And this is... I really, again, want to reiterate the confidence from BNK to say, pick Tristana again, do it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't care. Closer will lock in whatever is left open, and he will stop. And I gotta say, I really think that when it comes to the current level of tier list, something that Gen G was very vocal about, what T1 is doing makes complete sense. But after that first game, it gives me pause, Atlas. I think that they are trying to play a style that maybe doesn't work for them. I think Faker just hasn't looked good on the Tristana. He's had some games where he's like really popped off, but outside of that, hasn't been enough. The Corki would make a lot of sense here. Maybe they want to go for the Lucian.
Maybe you just lock in Zyra here as well, because Raptor was pretty good on it.
Wow.
Instead, the Aatrox's going to be picked up, and now a couple of bans to protect it if they would like to use them, but not taking the Zyra, not taking the Corki. Kind of crazy to me. And Clear looked brilliant, honestly. Like, this is sort of shades of the Clear that we were seeing in Challenger that was just kind of smurfing on everyone.
Yeah.
He was so incredible. Him and Thanatos were so much better than everybody else. No other top laner really existed in Challenger when they were at their peak.
No. I'm trying to think back to the Ilma days, but I don't think even
he wasn't there.
That was a different era. Unfortunately, the Yasuo ban, very cute here to come through. It's closer, so it's not a surprise. You know, he loves his melee picks.
And Faker has been playing a lot of Yasuo, so probably knows how the matchup goes.
In a bad way, as in not very fun for the Tristana. Not going to be the angle here. The Jace still going to get taken away. Even though they were able to match it, I do think that it was very obvious that Zeus was trying his darndest. And if they had one more pressure point on the map, I think that Jace could have been the difference maker. Even in the final fight, did an incredible amount of damage. What is going to be the pickup here for Raptor? I imagine that's what you want to go towards, and then you can keep this mid lane pick hidden, because there's not really a need for you to pick it up here.
And you can keep flexing the Ziggs as well. I think Zyra, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Looked very, very good. And more plants was better than just, you know, the one plant with his rock friend, you know?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one-to-one friend. Last time.
Ooh, he's going to lock it this time. Yasuo and the Braum to be picked up here from Keria.
Oh, we haven't mentioned this yet, but this should seem obvious, right?
Oh, God, yes. This is Closer.
This is his most iconic champion. It's a champion that we've seen him be very hit or miss. I think this is a lot more consistent. I actually quite like this. We've seen Zeka have standout performances on this. Chovy's also picked it and was fine, but it's Gen G. The data isn't real. I gotta say, Atlas, I'm looking at this T1 comp, and you are very reliant on doing a really good job in your lanes. Because I think that, unlike last game, the Yone fits much worse than the Jace did in this style of composition. You can try and play, you know, aggressively and go in with Daisy and Zeus instead of big combos. Faker can jump in. But if the game state is anything like last time, you don't have the Jace to bail you out. And I love the composition for BK. Good damage spread, good front line, lot of CC. And I think the lanes are actually looking quite good here for BNK. Now, T1 also had a lot of issues when it came to actual gameplay.
Yeah.
I imagine that they shore those up, but this isn't, I think, the type of draft that fills you with confidence. And imagine if BNK managed to get a big upset winner today. Would be huge for a team that struggled so much this summer.
I would agree. And I want to go back to what the changes are here for T1, because we were seeing the Yone hover, and I thought that in the context of having Leona there, Yone worked. With the Braum, you'd love a Jace. Jace would be so nice, and of course was banned away this time around by BNK, but maybe it was a different way that they could have gone. That being said, if they just tidy up the play on the side of T1, it will be a very different story, right? We know what this team is capable of. They're world champions, reigning for a reason. See whether they can find that as we head to the Rift for Game 2. All right. Here we are onto the Rift for game number 2. And we'll see whether T1 can bring us to a game 3 here. And they're going to have to double down. I think that if the momentum is going to continue in the way that BNK had it in game number 1, this could just be a 2-0. They just looked really good.
It was a stomp. Right? The game realistically was a stomp. And we kept kind of waiting because we've cast enough T1 games at least to know that.
And I think that it was warranted, yeah.
But if they get a similar lead in this game, then it might be very, very different case. So we do take a look at some of the rune setups here. Nothing too surprising. Raptor going for the Conqueror again. They will keep track. I feel like tracking a Zyra doesn't do nearly as much for you as it does in some other situations.
You also get a bit of an idea because she kind of leaves breadcrumbs, you know?
She does.
It's a little bit of the Hansel and Gretel situation.
Now
I don't know where she is.
You know, what is the Red Riding Zyra, where she just has bread instead of plants?
Oh, yeah, that could kind of work.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, but not too much, because if you think about it a little bit more, I know you're really going to make that happen.
But you need to have a Warwick skin as well that's sort of themed the same way.
Isn't that just every Warwick skin?
Yeah, actually, hang on. And it was Annie, and also the breadcrumbs is Hansel and Gretel, and so then you'd need, like, maybe the Daisy with like the cupcakes and stuff like that. Yeah, it was all about the big house that was edible and things.
It's tough for me because of the names are different in Dutch.
Ah,
so I have a hard time, but thank you for that. We do see the Braum level 1 being absolutely huge here, surprisingly. So Anna and Duro having a much rougher time than they did last time. Although Duro did start that game by headbutting a cannon. That did happen.
So now he's going to have to Zenith Blade a minion, and that's not going to do nearly as much. And so that's probably a good thing. Still, with this wave stacking up, that's kind of how Ziggs wants it in this early stage. As now Zeus going aggressive on to clear. Unbinds the soul, feels pretty good about it. And Closer, is he having a pretty good time here in this mid lane. And I want to talk about Closer a little bit, just because I feel like he's lost a lot of what made him the great player that he was. The player that we were really excited about watching. And it was the fact that he would just go for risky plays. And he also looked completely unfazed by anything that happened, by his opposition, right? Like, he wasn't the kind of person that would seem nervous ever. As that was a nice sidestep there on the piercing light, as Faker's going to miss the rocket jump, then does get the reset and gets out, but still, not exactly the greatest of situations here as they're playing. Yeah, he's looking for the option. See whether he gets there, as there's the grasping roots, but Faker does make his way out. Turret shot going to land, as now Duro really far up in this lane. Gonna get stunned up there as well. The door is going to come down, but Duro still has to flash away. Henna not offering that much back at this point in time, and T1 looking like they are moving with a little bit more spring in their step this time around.
One upside is that Henna obviously is going to be very safe, so even with Duro backing, we'll still be able to try and farm Keria. Nicely done there, denying him the opportunity to farm from a distance. And this wave state is a little bit rough.
Yeah.
Raptor, this is, I think, the one thing where Desire really struggles, is that even if you flash, you know, even with Faker close to the wall, your roots aren't fast. They're notoriously slow. And we see right there, Faker still has the response time. Still getting a flash. I think Closer is going to be able to use that very nicely. Was doing great in the matchup. Imagine that will continue. And with his 6, in the horizon. Should be able to play big on that as Duro might be in some trouble here.
Yeah, Keria is going to turn up. Some plans coming down here as well. And yes, no flash means no life anymore. And that is first blood going over to Faker. A much better start here for T1.
Duro getting completely caught off guard there. I think maybe was expecting a person, but it was two. And that combination of the Braum and the Ivan, they're so sticky. It's so hard to get away from them once you've been tagged by anything. If you either get tagged by a Q or of either of them, you're not getting away, especially not without the flash. So Duro has played a very aggressive game number 1 as well. Does get punished here. Nicely done by T1. Starting to build an early lead here. And Faker, as we see, getting the help from his teammates.
Yeah, Oner here.
Very straightforward.
Yeah, exactly right. And rocket jump. Going to get Faker in there. And nothing that Closer can really do at that point. He's got a Culvo. He's settling in for the long haul. As the looks. As Duro going to come back once again. This time takes the northern route. And that one seems to have worked. As somehow Keria managed to not find that Winter's Bite. It looked a little bit like it went through Duro, but that's fine. He's going to land that one onto Closer.
This is the great thing about having Lucian in mid if you're Leonia. Like, I can just lane here now.
Yeah.
And honestly, this seems
multiple options.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, I got an AD carry. He can proc my Q.
It kind of looks like you've just put your mid laner in the bottom lane really early. Because that's where Ziggs kind of started. It's where Showmaker recently played him.
Thanks, APA.
How it all goes, exactly right. As all right, now we're all just piling in on top of Raptor. Can he get the buttons off? The answer is absolutely not. As now the Culling's coming in. Keria solo, Faker also solo. Duro so slow though. And he's not going to be able to catch up to them. He might just be lying on the floor as well. And Oner's going to pick it up with the explosion of the Trigger Seed. T1 just kind of toying with them in this game.
Yeah, that's Ivan Braum. Right there. That's how it's supposed to work. The early shielding, the safety, so incredibly powerful here for T1. Able to get the most out of it, particularly with a champion with resets like Tristana. Very nice collapse there on top of Raptor, who didn't have his flash available due to the earlier fight.
And the aggressive flash over the wall, right? Like, punished for that.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel great here for B&K. You're getting overly aggressive.
Oh yeah, of course, was in the mid lane gank.
Yeah. Zeus is doing some Zeus things here on the top side of the map. I was going to say Yone things, but it's more just Zeus things. His Yone is so incredibly oppressive. Is doing exactly that here. It's clear not exactly having as much fun as he was in the last game. But let's have a look at this one more time. And as soon as Raptor gets tagged, it's just everyone is on top of it.
It's the Q from Oner that's the biggest one, because it gives everyone a free gap closure. Just the Q from Keria hitting is nice, but it's the follow-up that makes the difference. And then here, they just don't have the cooldowns yet, right? Closer throws out his ultimate, but it doesn't actually take anyone down. He doesn't really have the tools at that point to try and make anything else happen. And the trades are good. And when this composition is ahead, we didn't get to see it last game, even more so with the Braum, it's really obnoxious to play into. When Ivan just gets to set up shop and objectives, throw down his brushes, people just get to poke, take pot shots, use the extra damage that makes your life very unpleasant, Atlas.
Certainly does. And Faker now as well does have 3 grubs for his Tristana. Also had first blood, so he is in such a better position than he was in game number 1. B&K, they will be able to at least take the first dragon once again. I don't think that there is going to be enough, although they are closing in. Duro, can he actually get them out of this pit?
Gonna have a fight.
Yeah, it's looking like it. As Mountain Drake, very, very tanky. Raptor is going to be able to secure it as now Duro making his way in. Faker going to get stunned, but the buffer was good. Now the Hextech Minefield is down, and Henna should be able to take some control. And we haven't really seen a fight with the Ziggs around as well. I think that Henna should have a fair bit of ability to help out in a lot of these situations, especially Mega Inferno Bomb. If there are those, the brushes down, you just put a big old circle in there and you say, well, you can take a lot of damage or you can get out of those brushes.
It really is a circle comp, right? They have, well, I guess if you count Aatrox Q3, 4 circles.
That's a lot of circles.
One composition. What we saw there as well is a really big thing, and I think why T1's lead matters so much, is that whoever gets first move is basically impossible to siege. I think it's a little bit better for BNK because they have a Leona, and Clear can maybe look for a flank angle. But we saw there as well, like T1 wanted to fight, but trying to engage on top of Zyra specifically, unless it's on top of her, makes it really, really tough as, yeah, I don't think Zeus is the target you guys are looking for.
Yeah, he's going to unbind the soul. Look for an angle here as Clear does get rid of the minions quite effectively. And Closer just doing his very best to try and hold on to this turret as Faker goes in. There's the buster shot, and there is the kill! Just stacks up the explosive charge and nowhere for Closer to go. That's 4-0. It's just a complete reversal.
So we figured out the problem in the previous game was that Faker wasn't fed when he made his plays, and now he is.
Very. It's actually just, and it's Zeus and Gumayusi not really being a part of any of this. It is just Keria and Oner coming on over and saying, all right, Faker, we're going to get you a whole bunch of kills, and then you can just carry us, and it's going to be fine. As Mega Inferno Bomb does come on down, Gumayusi taking a bit of damage there. And actually finding a fair bit here, as we can see.
The problem is that actually taking down Guma is not really realistic. And this is the type of Ziggs which, in theory, can work out, where you just use him as a wave clear tool, you know, with his poke and with his teleport and with his ultimate. But that isn't as strong as the aggressive Ziggs. I think DRX still are the best example that we've seen this split, where you use him as a turret pushing tool by playing strong side towards bot. Might be looking for it here.
Well, this is definitely playing towards bot, as there is the satchel charge being thrown on in. Not quite anywhere near being able to take this one down, as there is the redemption. And that is going to lock that one up as Faker continues to be frustrating. Closer, no teleport available. Had to cull very recently as well. We didn't quite see it. That's on cooldown also. A lot of tools available.
Yeah, it's Blade of the Rune King Dungeon for Faker. He has Oner with him as well. His mid lane turret is not long for the World Atlas.
And Closer may not be either, as there's the root caller. Goomba Stomp does come on down here, and that's another stack up. And that is just Faker killing him one more time. With the help of Oner, they'll be able to take out this outer turret as well. And everything's just on fire for BNK. It was joy. It was beautiful. They were in Valhalla for Game 1. Game 2 is a very different story.
You can see T1, after that Game 1, really pulling back the reins, saying, okay, guys, we played fast and loose. Didn't really play to our win conditions. Realistically, looking at the draft, I think that T1 should have a lot of power, and this time around they're playing like it.
Well then, going to be employed here by Clear. Looks to clear out the wave as well, as now Oner's going to turn up at the same time. There are no minions left as he does flash on over, but there's the ulti from Zeus. There is the cleanup. They do manage to collect that kill, as now Raptor not finding any Stranglecorn value at all, really.
Yeah, the flash. Oner actually just got out.
All right. Is there good news that's going to be coming here for BNK? That's my question, because right now we're moving towards, I mean, it's a 5,000 gold lead. We're 100 shy of it.
If you're a fan of maximum amount of League of Legends, this brings the odds
there
up.
You go.
It's very straightforward. Lucian into Tristana is an extremely volatile matchup. Faker got ahead thanks to, I think, some great early roams from Keria as well as Oner. And now Closer is just going to change that. Like, it's reminiscent of what we saw with the Ezreal versus LeBlanc. It's like the type of matchup where once you start falling behind, you need to move up to the wave to try and clear, and you can't. So, yeah, no, I think this is looking like we are heading to game number 3, which is fun.
It is.
It's not what we expected. I still think we can look positively upon the win that BNK got. I don't think they'll be repeating. Oh god, that was very close. Raptor actually had to smite. I don't think they'll be repeating the performance of game number 1, and I don't think T1 is really gonna give up the lead that they've found so far.
Don't think so. Definitely not in this one. As there are some stall tactics that are available, as Faker once again going to buff the rocket jump. We're not going to be able to find too much of an angle just there. Root caller just to deny Duro even further. Chemtech once again going to be coming out as one of our first couple of Drakes, meaning that we don't have to deal with that soul, which is quite good. Clear being toyed with here on the top side of the map as Zeus just waits for this turret to go down. Keria looking to try and block what he can, but is going to be in a turret protected by the Ziggs. But this is not the Ziggs doing the things that we like talking about, which is killing turrets and getting plates and being rotated around so you can maximize the amount of structural damage you can get done. This is not that at all. He's managed to take one plate on the bottom side, I think. I believe we got word of that just prior, but
Atlas,
not really anything.
They've gotten one Drake.
Yeah.
Gotten one Drake this game.
They did.
I don't know if they're going to get a whole lot more.
Well, they're not going to get this Drake, because this one's going to T1.
Yeah, I'm really trying to look for something, but Braum Ivern comms, man.
The Zig scaling. Oh, it's actually a Cloud Soul.
I'm going to go back to what happened to G2 at MSI, which is the only way you lose if
Solar Flare goes completely
caught.
wide, and there is the Tristana possibly not getting caught.
Yeah, that's the only angle. Like that's how. If I remember correctly, yeah, this was T1 versus G2, right? Game number 3. And G2 was in a really good position, and all they needed to do was not get caught. Then, unfortunately, I think T1 found the catch in mid, if I remember correctly, and from there on out, there wasn't really a whole lot more that they could do. That's the position T1 is in right now. I'd like to think that they've learned from that and won't repeat the same mistake again, because there are a lot of compositions where, one bad team fight can take you out of it.
Yeah.
One player overextending in side lane, a poke setup that isn't great. But I'm just looking at the 1v1 matchups, and they're a disaster. I'm looking at who do you actually lock down here, outside of specifically Ivern?
Yet none of them. Braum, maybe. It's looking a little bit tough, because like you were saying, there's Arcane Shift, there is Rocket Jump, Gumayusi, and Faker.
Engaging on Braum just never works.
Yeah.
You know what I think it's time for, Atlas?
What's the time for?
Is we find a new topic of conversation. Because I don't want to just keep talking about how doomed it is for BNK.
Maybe we could... What if you found out right now that actually BNK won this game? How would they then go about doing that?
A thought experiment?
Yeah.
Catch on Tristana into Nash.
All right, I guess that's just how it goes. That's a good point. You did bring that up. Okay, yeah, no, I think it's been exhausted. It has been exhausted.
Why? I could try to find more, but I was really trying hard before.
You were digging deep. You
went
all the way back to G2.
I went back like May. That's what, 2.5 months?
Yeah, it's quite some time. It's quite some time. As all right, there's an ulti. That's going to get a flash out, so Closer at least will survive for the moment, as this inner turret not going to be going down just yet. Ran out of minions momentarily, but getting the flash out of Closer, this is very dangerous times. Raptor just trying to exist in his jungle. As all right, Stranglethorn's going to come in. That's going to get a flash out. That is good news. This is not good news, though, because Zeus has his soul unbound and just destroys Closer. That's a solo kill. That's 0-3 now for the Lucian. And Raptor's going to come up. He needs to catch this wave as it comes in. He's putting out fires as best he can, but this is just, charred up here.
Should have been Aurelia. That's what Closer said.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think it would have made a meaningful difference. I think T1 really cleaned up their game this time around, and they don't have vision. As it's just making the read. Closer.
Yeah.
You can't make that back when you don't have your flash. Even if you do have your flash, probably shouldn't. If you're under the turret, maybe Zeus doesn't go for that play, but instead going to be a kill over to a Yone that was already hard winning his lane.
And now Clear could be in a bunch of trouble. Does have Raptor moving on over, and Duro is in position. There are quite a few members of T1 in the area. And this outer turret is going to get taken for that reason. And we haven't really seen much from Clear this game either, right? He has been at the mercy of Zeus' Yone.
Well, he got counter picks and then, ganked once or twice.
There's the knock up. Engage Braum coming on in there, as they'll just buy enough space to guarantee themselves this blue buff steal. That is successfully going to happen. As Daisy still staying amongst it. Clear looking for that flank angle, seeing whether he can get Faker, but not going to be able to stop him from rocket jumping away. And BNK, just not a lot of inroads, not a lot of options, and the inner turret just going to be taking a lot of damage here towards his top side. Mega Inferno Bomb is going to clear out the wave, but it's not going to have too many more of those for the next little while. And And he kind of wishes that he had as many as possible because there are waves to be taken all over the place. T1 just seemed to be pushing everywhere. Zeus once again going in onto closer. Taking a lot of damage though, rebinds the soul and he'll get out of there. It's really a rough time. There is just not a lot of things going well for BNK in this game, and it is a complete role reversal because it's kind of what was happening in the last game. But it was the other nameplates.
Yeah, really, the only thing that makes this one feel less bad is that we just watched BNK do exactly the same thing. Right. I'm trying to think of something, Atlas, that doesn't feel like a non sequitur.
So why didn't your place flood? Because you're in the same building as Dan. Why didn't your place flood?
Yeah, we didn't. We don't have a balcony.
Ah, so it's the balcony problem.
That's what it seemed like, yeah. It wasn't a problem with the actual building, even though we're relatively close to the river. Post a picture of that, actually. It was quite something, as it is currently monsoon season.
It is. There's a lot of water all over the place. I actually kind of miss living near the Han River, where I used to be able to like walk past and just see just how ridiculously overflowed it is.
I kind of want to see the actual river. That's going to be even more fun.
Yeah, that was the most fun. Going for those walks just to discover, and where you just you basically wear like your swimsuit.
Oh yeah.
And just go for a walk. You just leave your umbrella at home, except that you're going to get extraordinarily wet.
It's
and
nice.
Just go for a walk. Yeah, I love it. So liberating. Walking in the rain. Oh, yeah. It's the best. No one does it here. Everyone's very, very scared of getting rained on. I don't know why. You'd be very used to it as
our weather is not great.
I mean, if you really like rain, it's the best weather ever.
No, because that's the worst part. It's not even rain, it's just perpetual drizzle. You don't even get the catharsis or the emotional impact of a good... Like, sometimes you do.
Of, like, the rain on the roof sound? Like, you don't get that as much?
The rain on the... You know, the romantic scene in the rain?
Yeah.
No, it's just drizzle.
But what about this teleport? This could be an option here.
Double TP?
Zeus is going to make it happen. Yeah, double TP does come on in. Zeus is going to be ulting around for a little bit, buying as much time as he can as the rest of his team head toward the Baron. And, Zeus might even be able to die on his own terms here on this one as well, as he does unbind. He's doing some tricky stuff, but the Infernal Chains will come on down, and there's the slam dunk. So they take the top laner. Raptor wanting to try and get in here. I don't know whether he's going to be able to, though. And Faker is going to be able to kill him in the meantime. Duro looking to flash away, but that is a reset on that rocket jump, and Faker's going to find even more. That's the double. They'll take a Baron to boot, and yes, BNK do manage to get their first kill of the game, but it's in trade for probably a Nexus after all things are said and done.
I don't think you'll take that trade, Atlas.
It's not a great one.
I was parsing the map. I was trying to figure it out. It's not work. You don't go for this trade if you have any choice, but they don't. They're 10k gold behind.
They did increase their amount of kills this game by infinity.
Oh, Atlas, this game is breaking. The previous game, we didn't get anything to talk about either.
Yeah, no.
And this game is a complete disaster as well.
It is. Thankfully, it's on the other side, so we get to see the true winner in game number 3. Or at least we assume it would be a colossal throw. I don't even know whether this game is throwable, because it is looking extraordinarily over. It's a 10,000 gold lead, 23 minutes, shellacking territory well and truly. As Keria puts up the door, and BNK desperately just trying to hold off these Baron minions. There are brushes everywhere, and this is what this comp does so incredibly well. Henna is going to get chunked out. Solar Flare is going to connect. There's the Mega Inferno Bomb doing a fair bit of work, and they're going for the re-engage. Can they find it as Clear, the one that managed to get a kill, is going to try and end the world, but unfortunately it's his that ends instead. And T1 getting a bunch of extra exit kills here as well. Zeus does fall down, so it is a 2-for-1 trade. Daisy also going to suffer her demise, but T1's still going to be able to get their prize. That is going to be the inner turret on the bottom side of the map, and they might be able to get even more. As I apologize for the rhyme halfway through there. It was not my intent, I promise.
I didn't even notice it, Atlas.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Being enamored by what is happening right in front of us on the screen. T1 get the bot lane in it. The pressure continues.
And it is now a 12,000 gold lead.
Yeah, they can just end, but I think this is catharsis, you know?
Yeah, you need to dig the screws in.
Because it's raining in Seoul.
It is.
So T1 is feeling that energy. They're making it happen.
It is one of, so one of the things that I do find a little bit sad is that there's a lot of apartment living here in Seoul, and you don't get that rain on the roof sound.
I think rain on the windows it's good, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
No, I agree.
Rain on the roof is phenomenal. Let's have a look at this replay here. As B&K, I mean, they're 12,000 gold behind. So this was a decent angle, and if Clear was anywhere near like parity, might have been okay.
Yeah, if he was
Wallet's rained down, you know.
Could have maybe made something happen. Not the case, so he just doesn't have the damage. There's just not enough stats to actually take him down. But I don't know how they got here, but it's not good, Atlas!
We're out of the replay, into the fire, and Gumayusi throwing through these Mystic shots. They might get Daisy. There you go, Clear, looking for a flank angle. This is a bit weird, to be perfectly honest, because we're Alcove gaming, and now Gumayusi is in a little bit of, Clear's in a lot of trouble. And there's an ulti from Zeus. He dives in. They're able to take down Raptor. And now Faker, he just kills all of them. He gets a triple. Guma's going to grab a double. It's a full house. Faker's full of Gumas, and they'll now move towards the enemy base and probably end this game.
Yeah, say bad, Atlas. The super minions are knocking at the door, and T1 says, okay, yeah, we can help you out with that one.
Yeah, I think it's time to stop messing around. Let's go to game 3 and really throw down in this one. There goes the Nexus. T1 is swift.